And welcome back to the Today with Tally podcast, folks. We have a great show in store for you today. We sit down with a U.S. Army combat veteran who is no stranger to the program. He first came on about a year and a half ago, and that was a very inspiring story that he shared with us. And we're going to sit down again today, and we're going to have a good conversation about where he is today, a year and a half later, and everything that he is a part of. Now, a quick bio. In June of 2006, Army Sergeant Adam Poppenhouse went on his first deployment as a tanker with the 3rd Stryker Brigade, 2nd Infantry Division to Iraq. On December 3rd, 2006, he and his company were securing a crash site and rescuing a pilot when Sergeant Poppenhouse's vehicle hit an IED in Taji, Iraq. During his combat deployment, he suffered catastrophic injuries that resulted in the amputations of both legs and was awarded the Purple Heart. During his recovery, Adam found a love for wrenches and racing. Today, Adam is an avid race car driver and is an active member of Resilience Racing and Race to a Race 22. These nonprofits are committed to advancing adaptive hand control technologies and harnessing the benefits motorsports therapy for injured veterans. Adam enjoys throttle therapy of all sorts and is a proud husband and father. And he says that becoming involved with Resilience Racing and Race to a Race 22 has truly helped to reshape his post-separation in life in a positive and exciting way. And with that, we are honored to be joined by U.S. Army combat veteran Adam Poppenhouse. What is up, buddy?
Oh man, happy to be here. Thank you. That's a hell of an intro. Thank you.
Oh, hey man, I got to do the best for the best, man. I mean, you are a living legend, man, and definitely an inspiration to all of us out there, especially in the veteran community. But anybody that knows you, that knows what you're about, and your family, and your life struggles and everything that you've overcome, man. I mean, again, you're a walking testament to all out there, and I appreciate you coming on and adding a lot of real life meaning and value to everybody out there today that will take the time to listen to this podcast, because I know definitely everybody will be able to take something away from this today.
I appreciate that. It's been about a year and a half since we've done one of these, and I've definitely it's been a long year and a half. So it's a lot of personal growth and a lot of experience and a lot of wild travel. Why don't we just lead into that? When we talked last, you had asked me a question that has been chewing at me, eating at me almost since that day, because I don't like how I handled it.
What question is on your mind, Adam?
I believe you asked me where I found my strength, or where I find strength, something of that nature. And I copped out. I didn't give you an honest answer. I said something sweet. I think I said I came from my wife, my family, and everything, but that was a complete cop out. That wasn't honest. That's been eating at me. So if you have, if you don't mind, I'd like to kind of dive into that a little bit.
Sure, of course.
So first off, I don't think I'm strong. Never really have been. I'm kind of an anxious, afraid of everything guy, which I've grown to love as an adult and chase that adrenaline now. But a lot of what I think people would perceive as strength of what I do or capable of is kind of a double-edged, ugly sword. To be honest, it's an inherent responsibility that I place upon myself because a lot of my friends don't have the opportunity to take part in some of the activities I do, or to even wake up every day. And then also just a complete lack of confidence, purpose, and personal doubt that forces me into some of these crazy situations where, it's a lot of sink or swim kind of stuff. I think for me, it's almost like I have to try to push the envelope sometimes to get attention, to keep the awareness about the struggles our veterans are going through on a day-to-day basis. I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles, but that question really sparked something in me, and has forced a lot of introspection and a lot of I'm not going to claim personal growth, because I feel like that's kind of that's a never-ending conveyor belt, but some real personal change for me came from that damn question, Tally.
Man, I'm getting goosebumps right now. No, I sincerely appreciate you bringing that up. And vulnerability is courage, and you're a courageous man. I mean, just how you live. You lost your legs for this country. You've given half of your body for this country, for the freedom and for the liberty that so many folks in this country do just completely take for granted. And of all people, know that freedom is not free. And we're always one generation away from that evaporating. And your life struggles and everything that you have been through, it matters. And so for you to bring that up right now is truly courageous, because a lot of veterans will answer that question. Oh, it's perseverance and inspiration and resilience and all that stuff. They're just words. But right. That's what you hear everybody say, and it's almost like, man, I have to answer this question like that. But you thought about it for a year and a half, and you thought that was important enough to bring up on this podcast immediately. And if you don't mind, I just have a question, and I don't want this to sit and ponder for another year and a half.
All right, here we go.
So you say confidence, explain that. Like you say, my confidence. I mean, are you lacking in confidence, or explain that one to me, Adam?
Yeah, in certain situations, absolutely. Maybe not in like an emotional, like a confidence in an emotional sense. My ego takes care of a lot of that for me. What's the term? So I tend to be very codependent when it comes to physical stuff, when going out and doing stuff. I think for a lot of reasons, always feel more comfortable if I have a buddy who's got all his pieces and parts to go out in the desert with me, or to go on a road trip with me, or to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think there's a lot of aspects that make me feel inconfident, or sometimes even incapable, or that is it's. I was injured when I was 20 years old. I'm 38 now, so we're getting pretty close to that half and half. So I've had a solid 18 years to try to figure out a life on Hot Wheels or on stilts, and been very lucky to have some very supportive family and friends that have really helped me along the way achieve some pretty crazy stuff. But even to this day, I still, I'll shy away from things because I'm just not confident enough in my own personal abilities to get stuff done.
I mean, I can only imagine how difficult it is. You know, you spend your time either with your stilts, you call them, you know, your legs that you put on, or you're just in a wheelchair, just kind of strapped, you know, by your waist there, and there's nothing else there. You know, so basically just in half. And so that codependency is definitely something that I think is 100% normal, you know, for anybody I mean, you don't want to go out alone out to the desert because, I mean, you don't have legs, you know.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that you couldn't do if there was a situation that arose. You need someone there to kind of help protect you. And I know you can you're probably really good at protecting yourself too. You've lived half of your life without these legs, but until people lose them and they begin to understand what life is like without them, it's something that they'll never be able to comprehend unless they are put in that actual position itself. So the codependency part, man, I think that's an absolute, that is about as normal, as I think that you can get. And, you said it in purpose, you have found new purpose since your accident, and you have grown the personal growth. I mean, throttle therapy, right? Adrenaline therapy. And you've got some great folks that are in your corner that are giving you opportunities to get out in the desert and forget about your legs, to forget about all of your other problems, whether it's the, like you said, the lack in confidence, or it's the, I'm not strong enough, or, all these more negative terms, because I feel the same way, man. Dude, I battle my own demons, as we all do. And life is tough, man. It is difficult. And it's harder for some than it is for others. And some people have it all figured out, and some people are really lucky in life, and, and some people are unlucky, but God throws us curveballs a lot of the time. One of these days, I promise myself, and I know that you're going to say the same thing here, man. God one day is going to throw a hanging curveball, and I'm going to put it over the freaking wall, and I'm never going to look back. And that's what we need. Right. We need a big opportunity in life to come to kind of propel us, right? To kind of catapult us to that next level, and to really start to begin living again and appreciating the finer things in life, and that gratitude. And that is where Resilience Racing and Race to Erase 22 has really stepped up for you, would you say?
Yeah. I mean, stepping up doesn't really cover it. Those two organizations came into my life around the time I moved to Las Vegas, and very, very hard to put into words, but those organizations, those people became friends, and now they've become family, and they're my closest friends on the planet. But yeah, I'm so sorry. To be able to be involved with Race to Race 22 and represent them racing is it means a lot to me. To be able to carry the names of fallen friends and support those families who are hurting is it's a big responsibility, but it's one that I really enjoy. And then Resilience Racing, not to put it coy, but we have an opportunity there to change the freaking world. And we can open up a new sport to a huge portion of the population that was never going to be possible for them. That was never going to be a possibility for them to sit in the pilot seat of a race car. There's never going to be a possibility for them to be instructed, to learn, to be improved, to have those experiences. And we are right on the cusp of of making that technology accessible. I just, man, it's hard to put in words what they've done and how much purpose, but self drive I've found just being around those people and my friends. It's kind of was a redefinition of my entire life, and I just wow, now I'm lost because I was crying. But those
you're doing great, man. I mean, you're doing great. Now, you were a 20-year-old kid when you had your accident, on that fateful day in Iraq, when you guys rolled over an IED out rescuing some fellow troops. At that time, or even up to that time, during your childhood, did you ever have a racing background, or I mean, were you ever involved in race cars or anything like that?
No. I mean, hard answer, no. Never really turned wrenches. Never really. I could change my brakes and swap a tire, but I didn't know a damn thing about a damn thing, and got put on tanks. And I don't know if anybody other than an 18-year-old boy will understand what it feels like to be an 18-year-old boy inside an Abrams tank. It's fucking sweet. That thing is awesome.
I had that. What, the M1A1?
Yeah, the M1 Abrams is.
Yeah, I had the opportunity. Dude, I had the opportunity to do that, man. I'm telling you, man. Holy cow. Yeah, that's. Dude.
So just having that was kind of my first, spark as far as machinery and how does this stuff work and the capabilities of all of it. And when I was stationed at the Stryker Brigade, my platoon got tasked to do a static display at a racetrack in Elma, Washington. So we parked the Strykers like in the infield and watched the World of Outlaws go around us on dirt. Wow. I like that moment was all I needed. That's all I've ever wanted to do was race cars since then.
And so that was before your accident.
Yep. That was, we deployed very shortly after that.
And you had no other and you've never had a passion for this.
Gran Turismo. I loved PlayStation growing up, but no.
So again, this is weird. I mean, this is like godly stuff. Is this like divine intervention? Was God talking to you saying that I'm going to use you in this really roundabout way that's going to destroy you physically, mentally, and emotionally, and we're going to build you back up, mind, body, soul, spirit, whatever it may be, and you're going to be that racer someday that other folks are going to be watching in a crowd saying, I want to do that. And additionally, look at that inspiration that I'm seeing. This guy's doing it with no legs. And he was in the stands watching prior to his to his deployment. And now he's on the track because of folks like, Debbie and Bill Burgos that really dedicate their lives to the betterment of the veteran community. And that right there says a lot about Race to a Race 22 and, their, character and their commitment and their dedication to helping folks like you. And look, I know you're a role model in the group. You've been doing this for a while now.
I disagree.
But you are, dude. I just had dinner with you 3 weeks ago. People look up to you. Look, we all think in our heads and stuff that we're not important. I just had a little pity party about myself a couple of weeks ago because I'm going through a lot of my own struggles. Right. And I say the same thing, but then I get a lot of these emails and text messages and stuff that's saying, Tally, because of you, I'm walking now, or I'm doing better, or I'm holding myself accountable, or, I heard this one podcast and because of it, it's really changed a lot of my perspective on things in life. And you just never may know, you could be out in town and somebody could take a look at you and feel inspired. That could be going through a bad day.
True.
So, you're not a dummy. You're a very intelligent guy. You're a very easy talk to guy. You're a good listener. I mean, like, we had a great time,
Yeah, that was a good time.
And again, I think you are somebody that can be looked up to, and it's going to lead into the next question. And again, don't sit on it for a year and a half.
All right.
Do you get a lot of new folks that are coming in to race 22 that have never done it before? And you being a seasoned vet with them now, do you kind of take them underneath your wing, kind of show them around a little bit?
Yes and no. I think there's been occasions where that's happened, where we've had new members or participants that kind of are looking for more of a mentorship type relationship, if that makes sense. But I'm also my experience is kind of, I'm a road course guy, or at least claim to be. And this desert stuff, I am new to it. So in many ways, I was kind of the mentee. So I just got back from Moto Camp and with an organization called Moto Demption. Shout out to Davey and Aaron. So I'm definitely gaining a lot more experience with this dirt stuff, but even mechanically, I'm still catching up to a lot of the new members that are coming who have. I mean, some of the pictures are hilarious. Nobody on our race team has feet, none of us. And so when we walk around, we just look like a damn circus. I mean, we're a real race team, but we look ridiculous.
So nobody on your team has.
So everybody's missing at least one on our Team Blind Project Cyborg ATV team. It's an all amputee team. I mean, just from all different lengths and sizes and shapes. But yeah, we look like a circus when we're walking around. It's pretty funny. But that some of those guys are newer to the program, but have so much more knowledge that I'm just trying to absorb, just being a sponge. At the same time, there's a lot of organizational things and logistical things that some of these guys haven't really had to deal with before, and securing sponsorships and proposals, and everybody's got their gift to give to the program, so yeah, Team Blind is going really well.
So you guys do this to kind of help your your mental, in emotional state of mind. And you get out there and folks, if you've never done adrenaline therapy, I recommend you find a good vetted source that does help veterans out there. And you will see that adrenaline therapy is amazing, especially for folks that do suffer from anxiety and depression, because it completely takes you out of that space and it puts you into something that you don't even think, except for you're just like, holy shit. It takes everything away. It takes all that garbage and it completely eliminates it. And you're living in this basically like in Young Guns, man, you're in the spirit world. What I mean? And then all of a sudden,
rocket ship, tunnel vision, you're forced to be in the moment.
Right.
There's no baggage, there's no emotion, you are forced into a lot of times something brand new. And the highs and lows and the preparation and the tear down of a race weekend is an emotional roller coaster. So in my opinion, there's no way you get through it without creating some at least lifelong trauma bonds with your teammates. And then for me, the elation of accomplishing that mission, just finishing a race in the desert world, is fucking difficult. So that's been a really cool experience. Just, seeing some of the guys come in and being pretty quiet, and then the very next event, everybody's family. it's a really cool, like we've said so many times, Debbie and Bill have really knocked it out of the park with the community that they've built here in Vegas. It's a very, very powerful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you crushed it. Live in the moment. That's what so many of us fail to do because, we have phones and, everybody is, always just kind of 100 miles an hour, whether you're on the freeway or you're at work or you're just trying to get, we're a very busy, overworked, anxious, depressed, angry nation.
Yeah.
I mean, and sure, of course, you've got happy people and sad people, but if I were to give the United States right now, a 1 to 5 star rating on mental health and emotional health and all that, I'd give us a 1. I mean, we're not carrying out face-to-face conversations anymore, and there's just so much out there more that we could be doing for the betterment of our community, and of course to the betterment of folks that are living in a very vulnerable and at-risk state, and that would be the veteran community. And oftentimes veterans are kind of left out there to hang, and they can't find the help that they need until it's too late. And we do need to rely and depend on good nonprofits. Now, there's a lot out there that are in it for the wrong reasons. And trust me, I hear a lot about the bad ones out there. I hear a lot about the bad that goes on at the VA. But we need to lean on and support these good nonprofits, because those are the folks that are saving lives. Those are the folks that aren't going to tell you no. You always have a place here. You always have a place with me. You can always call me. You can always reach out, and we're going to answer that call to service when it comes through. And you can't always get that at the VA. You can't always get that at other certain nonprofits, because again, a lot of them are not in it for the right reasons. Yes, I would say more than half are in it for the good reasons, but you don't really find out until you need them, and or to see where that money's going, and that transparency within the organization itself. Are they putting their money where their mouth is? Right. And
there's too many veteran service organizations out there that provide no services.
Right.
And
absolutely.
How the hell they get all this fundraising and without the program or a veteran served is beyond me. It blows my mind.
I see it every day. I see it every day. And, and unfortunately, as to my story, in the VA, I see a lot more of the at-risk veterans than the normal veteran does, because, I'm living in that bubble, if you will.
Yeah.
And, and it's a dangerous bubble. And it's a bubble that's full of fear and anxiety and depression, and just it's a broken bubble. It's a bubble that's together, but everybody in the bubble's broken, and and we're all just kind of trying to repair what's been broken. And that's not an easy thing to do. You got good days, you got bad days, you got days of despair, you got days where you just want to be left alone, you got self-isolation days, and then all of a sudden you could have the best day of your life and nothing can go wrong. And and then you value those days, and those are your days of gratitude. Those are the memory makers right there. And then you look back on it and say, man, everything is okay, but life is wild, man. It really is. And you had mentioned something earlier, when you go out on these races, that you get to carry somebody with you, a picture of perhaps a fallen soldier, a Marine, an airman, a sailor, or perhaps folks you even served with. And you said that takes great responsibility. Can you explain what that responsibility is like to do something like that?
Wow, that's hard, but I'm gonna try. I think it's definitely a self-driven pressure. But I have, as we all have, lost a lot of friends to suicide. And I can tell you that a common theme among those friends that I've lost was a lack of family and a lack of community support. So a lot of times we may be the last acknowledgement for some of these heroes, the last thank you, the last send off, and I've also seen on the other side the families that are left behind. For them to be able to take part in an event that one may open up a new community to them, an incredibly supportive community, but that turns the Mint 400 into a memorial. It turns, and it's something that will happen every year. And so if I can carry one or two names and pictures and stories to that race, or Team Blind can, or Race to Race 22 can, hopefully over time, we could have 100, 1,000, 10,000 families having, positive memories of their lost loved ones during the race weekend. I know that sounds pretty woo-woo, but I've seen firsthand mothers, fathers, and family members, and it's a really, really powerful program. And it starts with a piece of paper and an ask. And I would really encourage all racers out there, if you hear this, Race to Race 22. It takes nothing to print out a picture and a bio and take a picture, and it has such a huge effect on that Warriors community that they leave behind. I'm sorry, there's no way I can talk about it without getting emotional. It is an incredibly powerful thing.
This is what's needed in our community. This is what's needed. And again, I sincerely appreciate. I thought we were going to have a completely different podcast, but God has reasons for us today, because I think that this is very, 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 very extremely valuable, especially to all the veterans that listen to this when they're sitting in their room self-isolating, or perhaps the civilian that may not understand what you are going through and what so many veterans are going through, and they see you. And they see that beacon of hope, and they see that strength. Even though you don't see it, it's there. Trust me. I mean, you could easily just be sitting in your house and never come out again. And everybody would say, you know what? I don't blame the guy. I can understand where he's coming from. But you didn't decide to do that. You decided to get up, to get 1% better, get out there and join Debbie and Bill and John Ruiz, and get out there and do some throttle therapy and put yourself out there and compete. And not only compete, but then to sit around the campfire at night with your team, with all those amputees, and perhaps tell stories that nobody else in this country would understand except for the folks that are sitting around that campfire. And I'll tell you right now, that gives me goosebumps. And that right there, it fires me up, because it puts a fire in my soul. I love that. That right there is called healing. That right there is called healing. And it doesn't get better than that, man. I mean, you guys are all out there to help yourselves, and to reinvent, and to recreate, and to repurpose, and to rebrand yourself. I was once broken, but But now, but now look at me. Sure, maybe on the outside, I don't look like you, but on the inside, I'm a strong man and I'm carrying out what I want to do for the rest of my life. That's take care of my family and live the passion that makes me happy as a man. And what I'm passionate about right now, and what I'm so very happy, what lights that fire in my soul that I want to get up every morning and do, and that's to race. That is adrenaline. I mean, hell, you were a tanker. And so it doesn't surprise me that you found adrenaline therapy as your number one source provider, if you will. That is your basically your prescription in life.
Yeah. And, we could to touch back on that. There was a lot of the things that got me into racing was not, I didn't decide one day that I was just going to do that. It really was just a complex kind of gift from the universe. Before I was injured, I had acquired a Motor Trend magazine overseas, and it was the Evo 10 versus the latest Subaru STI edition, or and I remember in a shitter that was too hot, looking at those two cars, saying, "Oh man, when I get back, I'd really like to see myself in one of those two cars." And that Evo 10 happened to be one of 3 cars that I could drive and could afford. And that car led me to seek out a tuning shop outside of DC. And that tuning shop is where I ended up getting an internship at during my recovery at Walter Reed. And that really started the whole motorsports addiction. Definitely never something I just woke up and said, this is what I need to go do. It just kind of found me.
So it's so crazy to know that the signs were all there.
As a kid, it's never an aspiration. It just, but you live and learn. You find what you enjoy. And, I like being frustrated and afraid.
What was your passion growing up, Adam?
Oh, myself. For younger years, it was sports. All sports, played them all. And then once I started, teenage years and chasing girls, I became a lifeguard. I really liked the pool life. That was a good time for me.
Oh man.
To be honest, I think I've always been kind of a person that was searching for that, that just painful addiction that we all have, something that you truly, truly love. I just think I found mine a little bit later in life than most people.
Dude, lifeguard. You caught me off guard on that one, man. I love it because like Sandlot, right? The lifeguard,
Exactly, yeah.
Except for, ain't nobody doing, CPR on you, right?
Not that I'm talking about.
Or at least as a lifeguard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good way to chase girls, I guess. If you're a teenager, go down to the local community pool and become a lifeguard.
Yep, it's good money, short hours, lots of girls. I recommend it. All you high school kids out there.
Hey, you get free tanning,
Yeah. Oh yeah, lots of perks.
Man, I love it. Adam, what is next? What do you got coming on down the pike here?
Actually, so excitingly, I'm headed back to race school at the end of October here to Sonoma Raceway with Skip Barber. I'm doing their 5-day licensing school. So excuse me. Really, really looking forward to seeing all of those dudes again. I really have a huge soft spot in my heart for all that is Skip Barber and their universe. They're an incredibly supportive bunch. Just a really good group of knuckleheads. I'm excited to get down there and not only race a car for 5 days, but see the crew and see some of the homies.
Do you guys, you and your crew, you compared it to a circus, all of you amputees seem to have some very dark humor. Would that be fairly accurate?
Very, very. Yeah. I mean, you have to. One of the guys, I think he has on his stump, his leg, not his arm, but he has a shark mouth on his zipper. There's just a bunch of sick lawnmower tattoos, and I have the handicap symbol. I mean, we're all just a bunch of misfits. I mean, and that's what we look like when we get together, just a bunch of broken misfit toys. And we definitely don't pull any punches when we're messing with each other. So yeah, it gets pretty dark. But I enjoy it. There's nothing like hearing a brand new amputee joke. That's food for the soul.
Man, I love it, man.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me back. This is always a great time talking to you and seeing you. I do have one quick last shout out, if that's okay. Spartan Sword. Another incredible organization has picked myself and another family here in Las Vegas, and they've provided action tank chairs to us.
Whoa! Pick up your phone and bring that over. I want to see that thing.
Sorry for the state of my garage, but yeah, it's there we go,
dude.
Wheelchair on tracks, and there's the race car that the hand controls are going to go on. So,
dude, you need a bucket on that thing, man.
It's sweet.
You need to put a freaking front end loader bucket on that thing, man.
It has one. It has one.
No way, does it?
Yeah. So if you're a vet out there and when it snows, this thing you can like clear your driveway with it. It's incredible.
That's like that killdozer. You remember that story out of Colorado? That dude had a freaking.
Trust me, talk about that dark. That's already come up a bunch of times. Yeah. Yeah, but I won't go too far into that. We don't need those trackers on our phones right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna go racing with hand controls, and we're on the street or not on the street, on a road course and out the desert. And I really just can't thank this community enough here in Las Vegas and across the country, and really urging other veterans out there. Like I've been in that hole. It sucks to try to pull out of, but there are some incredible opportunities, incredible people out here that are going to more than support you. So it's a phone call. It's an application online. It's just one step, and it can really be a life changer.
Love it, man. So you got Spartan Sword. You have got Race to Erase 22. That needs some shout outs that I'm going to be tagging on this podcast. And then Resilience Racing. Is there anybody else that you want me to tag out on this podcast today?
Shit. My smoking hot wife, Megan, Skip Barber. They've always been incredibly supportive of Adam Poppenhouse. But again, I am a product of just an incredibly supportive family community. So if I can be a small part of helping somebody else find theirs, then rock and roll.
You are a very lucky man. You have a great family, and it was great meeting them all, and and having a good meal. We broke bread, with your kids and your wife, and with Bill, Bill was there on the phone,
on the phone, yeah.
And then
Johnny and Debbie,
yeah. I think he was down. Of course, he was racing in Mexico, and then of course John and Debbie. So yeah, man, that was a good time.
Absolutely. There's another shout out, Homes for Our Troops. Very, very. We are again so lucky. But a fully adaptive home, and it cost my family nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There was no catch. There's no shoot a drop. It definitely is not a here's a house tomorrow process. But I had no idea how much I was fighting my universe every day, just trying to be Stilts guy and live in a normal house. When I first moved to Las Vegas, I had an upstairs apartment that with no elevator, it was just stairs. I mean, that's just what I decided that Adam Poppenhouse had to prove to himself and everybody else. That was not the answer. I can be so much more present with the kids and helpful around the house. Just game changer. I spent way too many years trying to do it all by myself. And yeah, I could have been happier, healthier, more comfortable, if I just would have swallowed some of that pride a little sooner.
Some good advice, man. It's a good way to end right there. I mean, you got an army behind you, man.
Love it.
Yeah, you got an army behind you. So listen, thank you for joining us today, Mr. Sergeant Adam Poppenhouse. We sincerely appreciate everything you have done and continue to do in the military and veteran community. Your service, sacrifice, and dedication to our great nation is truly admirable.
Thank you, Todd. Those are incredibly kind words, especially coming from you. It goes without saying, you have done some incredibly some incredible things for all veterans. I think that goes without saying.
Well, I appreciate that. Kind of like you, I didn't choose this job; it chose me. You know,
my man. All right, Taji. I appreciate you.
Be well, man. We love you, buddy. Have a great weekend and hug that family for me.
I will. You do the same.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Peace.
Guys, there you have it. Sergeant Poppenhouse, U.S. Army combat veteran, double amputee, out living his best life. Throttle and adrenaline therapy with some very classy 501c3 nonprofits like Resilience Racing and Race to Erase 22 that are out putting in the hard work and the hours and the boots on the ground perspective to heal these veterans in need. A extremely vulnerable and at-risk population, and they need support. And not a lot are getting the support structures that they need. And so every single time that I do see great and worthy causes out there, we have got to highlight them. So go to Race to Erase 22 and Resilience Racing, guys, see what they're all about. And you can see what the work that they're doing out there to help folks like Adam Poppenhouse take back his life, right? I was going to say get back on his feet, and he probably would have laughed at that. Oh, that's dark humor. But and he does have some pretty awesome legs that he attaches. So I've seen them in both, so his legs and then his legs off when he's in the wheelchair. But he gets around fairly good, and his house even is built for him. So the cabinets come down, the refrigerator is low. So he could take care of himself. He could be independent and live in his home that has been built for him. And his needs, and his wife and his kids, as well, all live in the same house. And so they just know everything's low, and, and I'm sure they have some high cupboards too and stuff like that for his wife. But folks have really, done everything they can to help this man and his family, because he has been through a lot, folks. I mean, he has been through more than many folks would see in 100 different lifetimes, and then some. And I know him personally, and he's a good man. He's a good man, and I'm honored to know him. And it took a lot of courage for him to reach out and to say what he did about that question that I asked him a year and a half ago, that he brought back up today, that has been on his mind and sitting in his heart. Folks, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. It has never been easier to listen to this podcast. We are on Facebook. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on Amazon Music. We are on iHeartRadio. Simply search Today with Tally. Also learn more about me and my personal story, and perhaps even get my new book over at briantally.com. That's briantally.com, right there on your screen or on the lower ticker. You can also get the podcasts right there on the website as well. Just click the Today with Tally podcast icon, and it'll take you to every single podcast, all 246 of them. As Adam was saying, guys, look, remember to stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and always stay in the fight. Until next time, for the Today with Tally podcast, this is Brian Tally. Good night, Semper Fi. God bless.
This is the Today with Tally podcast.